Good evening, everybody. VA3EWV on the air. About to head home. As I would call it, the drive home. The drive at 5 or 5-ish is 5:30. Got stuck on a call there. I'm doing some technical work there and was lost as a goose. And then I remembered I knew what I was supposed to be doing. So I was going to try to do some DMR, digital mobile radio, this evening. And I had programmed in, or I thought I had programmed in the auto repeater for DMR, and then turns out that I did not. I must have a setting wrong or something. So that did not go well. So we're not going to be doing that this evening. Just scrolling through the stuff now, but nope. Yeah, so when I go to key up on it, it says it's busy. Oh, there we go. This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor, VA3EWV Mobile, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Oh, okay. So look, like I did. So I'm on VE3RAM, Brandmeister, 302117 talk group. So let me just see if I can get to another talk group and see if it works. Nope, that was not working. Ah! This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor, VA3EWV Ernest in the mobile. So I'm not sure. I have one programmed in, so one came up. Well, I programmed like in 6. So when you're on DMR, you have talk groups. So the talk groups I had programmed in was talk group 91, talk group 93. So one of those is like worldwide, one's North America, and then I programmed in an Ontario one, but it just didn't work out right, I guess. So I'll go back to the drawing board on that probably tomorrow. I have a big weekend planned and stuff like that, so I'll have to do all this ripping and running and programming tomorrow. Because on Saturday I go to a friend's house, and we're going to make 2 antennas. One's called an end-fed antenna, and then we're going to do a dipole antenna. So I'll be doing it myself. So that should be interesting. And at least I'll have some hands-on because I've never done that stuff. Personally, I've only just read about it. So I'll get to do that. We'll see how that works out. So we're going to be hitting the highway here shortly. So I'm going to get all set up to talk on in the national calling frequency, which is 146.520 VHF, and then I'll move on over to the repeater here, and that's close to us here in Ottawa. So that's what I'm doing now. So I named it Cornwall Commute. So on Cornwall Commute, I have all the repeaters from here to my house, and we'll see how that goes. So I'll check in and see if Jonathan's there. He's usually out there around this time. Give him a quick shout, and we'll see what's going on. His call sign is VE3OTW for Ottawa, Toronto, and Windsor. I think he said it was. So here we go. This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor, VA3EWV Ernest Mobile, looking for VE3OTW, over. So we'll see if he comes in there.
VA3EWV Victor Echo 3 Oscar Tango Whiskey.
Victor Echo 3 Oscar Tango Whiskey. Good afternoon, Jonathan. The VA3EWV coming at you.
Well, Ernest, good afternoon, or I guess good evening to you. It's already 5:30. Wow, the day really goes by quick. Super cold out there, but other than that, it's I don't know if it's February or March. Technically it's March, but today, or this year I should say, it's a bisexual year, right? So they added an extra day in February. So it's either February or March, depending who you ask. But regardless, good to hear from you, and hope all is well.
Oh yeah, I was reading about something like it just caught my eye. I did not read the whole article, and it said something about a lot of people who are on salary work for free today because this doesn't count into the formula. So a lot of people actually work today, but they're really not getting paid for it. Over.
QSO artist, yeah, it's a volunteer day for a lot of people today. So depending on, yeah, like you said, if you're salaried or if you're hourly wage. But you're right, absolutely right. A lot of people are doing a volunteer day today, and nobody's saying anything about it. But it's all good, I guess. It's all good. Are you still staying at your daughter's place there, or are you headed back to Cornwall?
Today I'm headed back to Cornwall. So I used to stay in town 5 days a week. And then I got that sweet schedule change. I have condensed schedule, so Monday through Thursday now, which gives me Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. So a month ago, I was staying 5 nights a week 5 nights a week in town, and now I'm only having to stay in town 2 nights a week. So the wife really likes that. Over. My camera almost
Okay, very
down
good.
at
Well,
me.
that's less commuting on you, less wear and tear on the car. So yeah, that's excellent. That you're able to get that by, and that's great. And you got to visit your daughter at the same time too, and get to play some radio. So sounds like everything is good on your end.
Yeah. So when I came, so this week it was my daughter Sarah. My grandson's name is Knox. He's the youngest, but he just had his 5th birthday. But he's heavy into the CW, trying to get kind of get it going, right? So I put an app on his tablet, but he doesn't really like it, the app. So he was waiting for the practice key. So I walked in the house after work on Tuesday, and he's like, "Did you bring the practice key?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I forgot it." And the disappointment in his face almost made me want to drive all the way back home to go get it and bring it back. Over.
QSL, yeah. Well, they have online apps too that you can practice with as well. That might be of interest to him. And yeah, I think one of the amateurs here, their son is currently taking the course, and they might write the exam. I think they're 11 years old, 12 years old, but 5. Yeah, that's getting them young. So that's great that he's into the CW, and it's easier to learn when you're younger, I guess. So yeah, that's great. That's great, and I'm sure he'll pick it up quick, and you can make a lot of contacts on that boat. So more power to him.
Well, he's at that stage where he's learning French and English. So he's mom is straight up English. That's my daughter. His dad is straight up French. So he's getting both, and then he's picking up the CW and things like that. But the reason he didn't like the tablet version and the computer version, which I have them both, on that practice key, you get to change the tone, right? So he tries to mimic the repeaters in our area, and we have 8 repeaters. They're on different, tones or different. Yeah, that's what it's called, a tone, but not the tone like a repeater tone. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the sound tone, right? So he's starting to even pick up which repeater is what just by the tone. Over.
Okay, very good, very good. Well, yeah, I'm surprised that that's not a functionality in the app because I know some, I believe they can do it. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but yeah, I thought you would be able to change the tone. But regardless, I agree it's a lot easier to practice on the physical key or paddle or whatever you're using. So yeah, that's great. That's great
What's
that
going on,
he's
guard?
getting into it, and
What up? What up?
I'm
What
sure
up?
he can pick it up. And if he writes the CW exam, he can get HF privileges automatically. He doesn't have to worry about the getting a certain score for basic with honors. He can go straight to the straight to HF if he's successful on that test. That's only 5 words per minute too. So if he's getting good now, he he might be able to be successful in that exam further down the road.
So if he stays with it and it's not a fad, I might try to get him a different key. Because the thing with this one, you can change the tension and all that stuff. So right now, you can see his head type like moving with the paddle, and he's saying, like da dit da da, because he knows the da's are long on the dits. We actually graduated from long short, because that's how I would always teach music when I was trying to teach them whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, etc. Right? So now I'm to the da dit, and even though he's saying da dit, the key is still so stiff, and he's so small. He's using 2 fingers to 3 fingers just to press the key down.
Okay, well, yeah, I don't know which key it is, but some of that's adjustable, and might have to break in because yeah, it's still quite stiff. Is he using a street key or a paddle? What exactly is he using?
We have a straight key. I'll send you a picture tonight when I get home. I'll email you a picture of it, right? And then you'll see what equipment we're working with. Also, I have a YouTube channel. I'll send you the link to that, and you can actually see them in there practicing on it. Over.
Okay, very good. Well, yeah, straight key. It's myself. I use a paddle. Straight key. You have to have a bit of rhythm, which I do not have. But some people do. If they do, they can really make good use of it. But there's the Street Key Century Club, and there's CWOps. There's a lot of different groups that help with the education of CW. There's Long W Club. There's quite a few organizations out there that also sort of Street Key I would be kind of useless, so I stick with the paddle, the iambic paddle. But if he's doing good with the straight key, well, good on him. I'm sure he'll get speed and copy in no time.
Yep. Other than that, I'm gonna have a probably busy weekend. I know my daughter, one of them, wants to come over on Sunday. She's already claimed the spot. She said, "What's the best day for me to come to the house this weekend?" I'm like, "No days. I see you all week long." So she just giggled and she goes, "Saturday or Sunday?" I'm like, "None. Stay at home," right? But she's gonna come Sunday, so that's that. I lost that battle. But on Saturday, I'm going to be going to my friend's house, VE3 E Echo Zulu Bravo, Easy B. I like that one, Easy B. But that's the guy I told you about that's going to be, that was from your suggestion, Jonathan. I'm just going to recap. You suggested I reach out to the club and see if anybody had an HF rig just to practice and, be there. And, I won't be transmitting on it, of course, but, when you get a radio, you really have to learn how it works and how to program it and all that stuff and use it and where everything is, So he's going to be going over that with me. But most importantly, like I said, for a recap, he's going to be doing an in-fed antenna. Well, he's going to have me make my own in-fed antenna and my own dipole antenna. So I'll be doing it all myself with the solder and all that stuff. So we're planning on spending most of the time just doing the antenna work and, measuring it and all that stuff. All the stuff I learned in theory but never done in real life. Over. What's up, Dean?
QSL learners, very good. Well, it sounds like a good learning experience that you can apply to solder. Again, as I mentioned before, soldering is a special talent, again, one that unfortunately I do not possess. But that's great that you'll get your feet wet and that sort of thing and kind of get some exposure to it. That's fantastic. And yeah, with the N-Wave, you could tune it into whatever frequency you have it at, depending on what type of NFET you have. It should be good on multiple frequencies, so you can tour around the bands and see what's happening. I know here locally, they're doing a port activation in one of the parks here on Saturday, so shame you're not here for the weekend. But they're doing a port activation on Saturday. You can meet some of the Ottawa locals, but But it's all good. It's all good. But you'll have a chance to practice on your end in regards to the soldering and the end fed, and hopefully it goes well. I'm sure that with the right supervision and you get the wrapping right, and depending what type of toroid you picked, I'm sure it'll be good. VA3EWV, VA3OTW.
Well, for sure be sending you some pictures. I'm actually looking forward to that. When I was at the last year's field day, I saw a couple of guys working at that, but I was hosting, so I was a little bit all over the place. And I was also very intimidated by all of this stuff. I was hearing, not anymore, but I was hearing a lot of all these CBers coming to Ham. Well, that's where the fun's at, right? That's where all the fun's at. So yeah, but I've never had anything that I had to make or to measure or anything like that. The radios I've had in my vehicles, I always would go to a radio or an audio shop, and I would say, okay, could you install this radio and my antenna and make sure all the wires are hidden and make it look professional? And that's what I've always had in my car. I never did anything myself. And this past summer, I actually wired everything up. I did a couple of videos on it. Wound up almost catching my car on fire in the process. That was a lot of fun, and blowing a lot of fuses. And I was scared I was going to mess up my car. When I had the old beaters back in the day, it wasn't such a big deal, but I don't want to mess anything up because I thought I connected it to the one that when you turn your ignition on, it would turn the radio on. But I kind of gave up because now it just stays on, so I have to remember to turn it off. But one day I'll figure all that out. Over.
QSL, yeah, Ernest. It's all those newer cars are really sensitive with these electronics. So yeah, and a lot of stuff is a lot more compressed now. So yeah, it's a lot harder to feed the wires through and do that sort of thing. Yeah, it's a lot more difficult. But yeah, hopefully you'll find some sort of resolution. But I keep speaking to you on this frequency, so it sounds like it's working good, and the mobile setup you have sounds good. And I know you monitor multiple frequencies with the mobile that you have, and I think you have multiple mobile rigs as well too. So it sounds like you did good work there, Ernest, and you always have a clean signal here in Ottawa. So that's great. That's great. Actually, that's another question for you, Ernest. You talked about the Hamfest. Are you planning to attend any of the Hamfest? I think Smith Falls is coming up shortly, and the Iroquois as well too. Are you planning to attend any of the Hamfest, Ernest?
Well, funny you should mention, my first Hamfest ever last year was at Iroquois. Brand new ham. Had my little shirt that my wife made for me. I was going up in there representing, and I was looking around all bushy-eyed, and buying was I bought a bowl of chili and a hot dog and a pop, and that's what I bought at the Hamfest because all the stuff that was there was stuff that I was studying in the book that talks about the things that all the old equipment with tubes and all this stuff in it, right? Not interested. So I was like, no, I don't even know how to spell amateur right. I can't be trying to get something I'm going to have to fix or whatever. Not now. And so after that, when I went to the Carpan Fest, and at the Carpan Fest, I bought 50/50 tickets, and I bought more food. So that was my two. that was my two Hamfests for last year. So this year, now I know a little bit about whatever, and I'm looking for some stuff. So we'll see. We'll see what they have, eh?
Okay, very good, very good. Well, people go for different reasons, or some people go to pick up new equipment. Some people go just to socialize. I guess some people go for food. There are different reasons why people go to those sorts of things. But the season is coming. And you're right. Carp is the big one. Carp is the one in the fall time. That one I might attend in the fall. Not certain yet. It's still quite a ways away. I know a lot of the locals here. They kind of do a carpool, and even the Gadsden Club as well too. I know the REO group. I think they carpool with one person, and they go down to Smith Falls and Iroquois. And see what's there and to socialize, of course, and to have a good time. So, well, it depends what you're looking for too, right? You mentioned the tubes. If there's no shortage of tubes at those ham festivals, so if you need a replacement tube, then something you could certainly do. But you have to do what interests you, Ernest. So if what you're doing is interesting, keep going with it. And the problem is there's just so many facets of the hobby. You kind of have to focus on a few things and go with it. That's what I find. So if that's not of interest to you, that's fine. But yeah, as long as you find something that interests you, I think you'll certainly have success in the hobby, more than you've already had now, which has been quite a bit. You've done quite a lot in the last few months here, so good on you. And now you're building a NFED, so that's fantastic. I can't wait to hear all about it.
Go ahead.
I was saying that yes, for sure, the CRAO, the radio club here, with all the carpools to go to all, we just loved it. And mostly I use them. So here's VA. For sure, Jonathan, VA3EWV will surely get there. OTW, Jonathan, VA3, OTW.
VE3 OTW returning. Yeah, Jonathan, good to hear from you. I figured I was mentioning the carpool. I said, you know what? I know Jonathan LOJ is probably listening, so I'm sure he'll jump in. And sure enough, you did. Yeah, I know last year you guys did the carpool, so that's fantastic. And Ernest is just brand new in the hobby, so he's getting his feet wet, as I'm sure you've overheard, and he's done a lot of good things so far. So I was curious to see if he was attending any of the ham festivals this year. So we might see him at one or two, and maybe he might be in Carp. But again, too soon to tell. It's still February, so we'll see how it goes. But Jonathan, good to hear from you, and we'll pass it to Ernest, VA3EWV Mobile, VE3OTW.
Jonathan, VE3OTW. Are there two Jonathans on the radio?
VE3OTW returning, yes. So there's myself, Victor Echo 3 Oscar Tango Whiskey. And there's also Jonathan on frequency, Victor Alpha 2 Lima Oscar Juliet on frequency. Are you able to hear LOJ there, Ernest?
Well, I'll see Victor Echo 3 Lima Oscar Juliet. Are you there over VA3EWV? Hey, Dan, how's it going, bro? Long time no see. Long time no see.
VE2LOJ, VE3OTW. Ernest is calling out for you. I don't know if you can hear Ernest there, Jonathan, but he's calling out on the mobile, but he might be a bit too far.
What's going on, Daniel? I'm just commuting home. I have a condensed weekend, condensed week, so I get to be home every Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the next 5 months. It was 6 months when I got my schedule, but the first month have already passed. So good to see you there. Miss seeing you just miss seeing you,
Okay,
period.
Jonathan, very good. Well, nice to hear from you. And Ernest is taking the advanced course. As we speak right now, he's attending the advanced course session. So very good. Very good. Well, I'm sure we'll hear from you, and good luck with the preparation.
We're on national calling frequency, 142.520.
3OTW in the group.
142.520 national calling frequency.
He teaches the basic course.
Oh, 146.520. Excuse me.
So if you took the course, you may or may not have taken it with him, but he offers that with his club there. So it's all good. But Ernest, I'll pass it back to you. Jonathan LOJ wasn't able to hear you, so he signed off. So right now it's just the two of us in the meantime.
Okay, yes. I'm just passing Calypso just to give you an idea where I'm at. So I just passed Calypso on my left. I think we get almost to Castleman before I start breaking up with you, though. Can you still hear me okay?
I can hear you, but you're very intermittent. You're probably between S1 and S4. You're bouncing in and out, so I don't think we'll be able to hold it much longer. But as of now, you're still coming in, albeit barely.
Okay, well, before I lose you totally, I was just, we were actually planning on trying to have a joint ham fest with our club, Seaway Valley Amateur Radio Club, and another club in town. Uh, so there's talks with that. I don't know if it'll be this year or next year or whatever, but I know they've had a few meetings already together, so that's pretty interesting. But there'll be more on that when I find out more about it. Anyway, Jonathan, if you can still hear me, I think we'll end this one, and I'll sure be reporting to you more about the stuff that happens on the weekend. And then I'll just be talking to you later. So back to you for finals, VE3OTW.
And it's very good. So good luck with everything this weekend with the infant antenna. And yeah, okay. You're home and 7-3 until next time. The VA3EWV mobile. This is Victor Echo 3 Oscar Tango monitoring and standing by.
Okay, folks. Well, that was Jonathan on the national calling frequency, 146.520. The reason I know that is because I can look at my rearview mirror and see in my rearview mirror the calling frequency. When I put that there, I really didn't think a lot of people would reach out, but turns out they do. So that's pretty interesting. So right now I'm going to go to the Chelsea VE2CRA repeater and see if I can raise anybody on there. Dan was there. I don't remember Dan's call sign off by memory. But I saw Dan in there, Dean in there, and I think that's all for now that I've seen. Maybe one more person. But thank you guys for watching for sure. Let's see who's on VE2CRA now. This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor, VA3EWV Mobile, from the commute to Ottawa to Cornwall. Anybody on frequency? Over. Give it a couple more times. There's always somebody listening or, monitoring the frequency. You just got to hit them at the right time. This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor, VA3EWV Mobile. Anybody on frequency? Over. Okay, I'm hitting the repeater. At least I can hear that. So I have this on the commute. So I'm going to try a couple of other repeaters because I'm not really close to home, but I'm close enough. So I'm going to see if I can hit some other repeaters before I shut it down. So I'm going to see if I can hit the Iroquois repeater from where I'm at right now. I don't know exactly where I'm at, but we'll try. This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor, VA3EWV Mobile. Nope, not hitting. Wait, what? Okay. Got into the Iroquois repeater. Excuse me. This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor in the mobile, commuting from Ottawa to Cornwall. Anybody on frequency? Over. Okay, so I guess I'm in and out on the Iroquois repeater. That's medium power. I can't turn it up. Let me just turn it up, and I have it set where I can just not have to kill myself to do it. So now it's on turbo. Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor, VA3EWV Mobile. Anyone on frequency? Over. Okay, we're gonna move from Iroquois and go to Covey Hill. Well, I do Covey Hill on that. Oh, that's tomorrow night. Let's see if I can get into Winchester. VE3 in November Delta Charlie. This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor, VA3EWV mobile. Oh, very nice. Definitely into that one. Okay, let me try that one more time. This is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor, VA3EWV mobile. Anybody on frequency, over?
VA3EWV, Victor Echo 3,
Ah.
Oscar Tango Whiskey. I guess Ernest, if no one is going to get back to you, I might as well.
VE3OTW, thank you very much, Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, I had programmed quite a few repeaters in, as you had saw, or as I had said. This one is the Winchester repeater, and you're coming in full quieting over here. I don't know exactly where I'm at right now, because I don't have the GPS. Um, it's not my. There's something wrong with my connection. It's not connected to my car, so my phone will give me audio, but it will not give me GPS stuff.
Okay, that's very good. Well, you're mostly getting in there. You're flooding a little bit, but that's to be expected. You're on the mobile and you're driving further away from the repeater. So, yes, you're correct. This is the Winchester repeater. It's quite high up. It has a very large footprint. So, I'm not surprised that you're able to get in here, even though you're driving further away from it. But it's all good, and you're getting in there. So. Good on you. And as I said earlier, you must have set up your mobile rig very well because you're able to get into all these repeaters that are pretty far, usually for a mobile unit, but you're able to get in there just fine.
Yeah, VE3OTW. I have to say, I'm pretty impressed myself. And a couple of guys were like, "What kind of radio do you have?" Right? And it's an Anytone DMR radio. Nothing fancy. It was the right price at the right time. And then the guy sold me a tri-band antenna because it's a tri-band radio. I have 220 in it, 70 and 2 meter, right? And she puts out. I can tell you that much. And half the time I'm on just medium power. Over.
Okay, that's very good. Well, yeah, you're right. It's all about the antenna. You know, the rig doesn't have to be the best subwoofer filtering, but at the end of the day, it's going to be the antenna. Yeah, I'm assuming you must be running a half wave or 5/8 antenna for 2 meters because you always seem to get in quite well, even when you're further away from the repeater. So kudos to you. And as I said, you sounds like you have the mobile rig set up. And yeah, tri-band. Unfortunately, as we discussed, there's not too much traffic on 220. There's a few repeaters that got to know, but as far as Ottawa proper, unfortunately, there isn't much. So it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, at least you have that capability if you really choose to use it.
Oh yeah. So in the car. So on this radio here, it has 220, but it only does 5 watts on 220. But I have an Alinco dedicated 220 radio that's mounted on the side here, and it does 30 watts. So I tend to use it a lot because I was told if we don't use it, we lose it. So I'm always at least, calling out on it or something like that, And I have it connected to its own little antenna. It looks like it's about a foot long, and that's all that is. And then the 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and 220, that's one. That's an all in one combination, and it has like a parasitic antenna on the side of it. I'll take a picture of it because it's every time that someone sees it, they're like, I've never seen an antenna like that. So I'll have to show you the picture of it. Hey Dan, so Dan, I was on.
Yeah, it seems to be working. But you
We're on
are
the Winchester repeater now. Wait, let me see. Yeah, Winchester repeater. VE3 NDC. I don't know the frequency, but we're on the Winchester repeater right now. Oh,
The
he
Moose Creek repeater, do you have that in your radio?
is asking to go to the Moose Creek repeater now. VE3OTW. I do have the Moose Creek repeater in the radio. We can QSY over there. Now, I also have a friend that's trying to get on there with us. He was listening to 146, and because I'm dyslexic, 146 520. I had told him the wrong numbers there. Anyway, we're gonna go over to which one did you say again? Could you repeat that?
Well, you're still getting in this repeater here. I'm quite impressed. But when you get out of range, I would assume that the Moose Creek repeater, OJE, would be closer to you, and you would have a better range to get into it. Moose Creek.
Yes. So right now I'm passing a sign that says Castleman, and I see the Ford Motor Company there to my right. So that's where I'm at now, and the Scotia Bank to my left. So I'm just passing by those signs right now, and about to go up this hill here. Over.
Okay, well, you're slowly starting getting in and out of the repeater here, so most part you're making it, but you must be hitting some peaks and values there. There are some parts where you're not quite able to get in there. But for the most part, you're still making it in. So from that distance, that's not too bad. This repeater, as I mentioned, it's quite high up, so I'm not surprised.
Okay, but look, I want to go try the Moose Creek repeater anyway. I have them on there. We might as well give them a little exercise. So I'm going to QSY over to the Moose Creek repeater there, and then I'll pick it up with you there, okay? Hey, Daniel, let's go to the Moose Creek repeater. Let's see if I have it in here. There we go. I think I have two Moose Creek repeaters. I do. VA3EWV, VE3OTW, over. I have two Moose Creek repeaters. Dang it. VA3EWV, VE3OTW, over. Doggone it. I have VE3TYF and VE3QOJE. Oh, there he is.
VE3EWV, VE3EWV Mobile. This is Victor Echo 3, Oscar Tango Whiskey.
Victor Echo 3 Oscar Tango Whiskey. I picked you up on the repeater VE3OJE. I was like, oh my God, I have two Moose Creek repeaters in my radio for some reason. One must be, see, that's the thing. I got to get to where I know if it's UHF or VHF. So I'm on VE3OJE, but I did have a second one in there too. Moose Creek repeater. You're full quieting, over.
QSL, yeah, this repeater, I believe it's higher up than the one we were on previously, and it's kind of in between you and me, and it's a lot closer to you, so I think it'll be a lot better for our purposes here. But you're making it in just fine, and you're getting closer to this repeater here, so that's to be expected.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm pretty proud of myself because when I set up and start programming it, I was programming it so I can just count how many clicks left or count how many clicks right to because when I turn it on, it go my oh, check this out. I was impressed by this. This will be funny to you, but I know I have two specific sides of my radio because I can monitor one set of whatever while I do the other one. And I was just sitting there, going through some more training and going through testing and, just trying to figure out all this stuff. And it started talking about VFOs. And I was like, VFO, I've heard of that before. And then I did a little more reading. And then now I know that I have a VFO at the top and a VFO at the bottom. I think that's what they're called. So I used to try to say station 1 and station 2, but it's VFOs. So I have two VFOs in my radio. A VFO and a B VFO, over. Yeah.
You know, if you want a Japanese radio or an American radio that does that, you're going to need the top tier. Like the radio I have now, it's only single VFO. But a lot of them, like you said, for VHF and UHF, it's dual band, dual VFO, which is quite good. My HD has dual band, dual VFO, so it's a nice feature to have. And it has the standby monitoring, so it's nice. You can just monitor, and whoever comes in, you can kind of monitor the frequencies at once without having to scan. But yeah, that's good. That's excellent that you have that capability. And yeah, I take it they must be good radios because you always have a good signal and has the DMR capability as well too. So that's excellent there, Ernest.
VA3SDO.
VA3SDO, go ahead. VA3EWV returning.
Oh, I forgot I had my antenna unplugged there, so I had to plug that in. It was a whole kerfuffle there, but I got you now.
Is this Dan over?
Yeah, this is Dan. It's been a while. I was my antennas, my two UHF VHF antennas were disconnected because I was doing some tests with ADS-B, so I forgot to put it back, so I had to try and get everything reconnected there to make contact with you.
Well, I definitely appreciate it. I'm still out here learning and stuff like that, as you were hearing me just saying. I was so excited. I'm like, I have two VFOs on my radio. My wife was walking past me when I figured it out. And I'm like, did you hear me? And she goes, oh, yeah, I'm happy for you. And she she kept walking to go get her coffee. And now I'm, because it's just funny that every day I'm learning. If I get on the radio, guaranteed I'm learning something. Dan, I want you to meet a new friend of mine, Jonathan, VE3OTW. I met him in Ottawa a couple months back when I was getting on the national calling frequency for the first time. VE3OTW, this is my friend Daniel. I forget his call sign, but say hi to him, over.
VD3STL, VD3OTW, well, good to you, Dan. We've spoken a few times, Ernest, so that's great. Haven't spoken to you in a while, but very good. And Ernest is making the trip back to Cornwall, so I said let's go on this repeater here, and it's closer to him, so it seems to work, and this repeater really gets out there. So it's good. Dan, how have you been? It's been a while.
Oh, I'm good, man. Life is busy. There's no rest for the wicked. But where are you at? What's your location?
QTH is in Ottawa, and usually I talk to Ernest on the commute when he's in Ottawa, and then usually he switches someplace else. And today I asked him if he had this repeater program that he did. So here we are.
Oh, very good, very good. Yeah, no, man, I have two antennas down. I took them down. I took them down at my I have three HF antennas down. I took them down at the beginning of the winter, and haven't had the conditions go back up yet at the time. So, radio has not been that busy for me, but I'm hoping that here we're going to get some nice warm days again and get everything rectified up there, so I can spend my nights in the shack talking around the world.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's now is the time, especially last couple of weeks. You know, the upper bands have been absolutely fantastic, especially 10 meters. My goodness, I've been able to contact places that I'm not able to contact on 5 watts to QRP, and I've been talking to several locals here, and they've had similar results. So, yeah, now's the time to get active.
Awesome. Ernest, what about you? So you're going for your advanced. Have you done your basic with honors, or are you just going to skip that completely?
No, I'm going to do the old skipperoonie. And not only that, I'm laughing at myself because I've missed my exit. So now I'm somewhere that I don't know where I'm at. It says, where is this at? St. Isidore, Maxville. Never even heard of it. But I blew right past the 138 like I didn't even know where I was going.
You're supposed to be watching the road, Ernest.
Well, I was, but I always use my GPS, and I left my other phone at home, the one I usually do my videos with and stuff. So I had to use my phone, and it's got some kind of short in it. It just developed. So I see some kind of Tim Hortons and stuff to my right. So I'm just gonna try to go across the highway and double back and go home.
Very good. Congratulations, by the way. The last time we talked, you were looking for work, and evidently you got something going on. So congratulations, man.
Thank you, and I have to tell you about this. Not to, I don't want to bore you, but it's a funny story to me, and the reason I say that, every time I tell my wife, "Hey, this is a funny story," she's like, "Only your friends think you're funny, not me." So that's how that goes. Anyway, a guy put my name down as a reference, and this guy unfortunately wasn't even a good worker. So I got a call from the recruiting company and says, "Do you mind doing a reference check for Billy Bob?" And I'm like, "Who again?" And they're like, "I'm making the name up, okay?" But they're like, "For Billy Bob." I'm like, "Oh, well, what position is he applying for?" And da 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 da. Because so I said I can't give a professional reference, but I can give a personal reference, right? And anyway, I finished all that stuff up then, and then I said to the guy at the end, I'm like, "Are you guys doing any other hiring?" And he says, "Well, I remember you. You used to be a team lead with us, but we're only hiring bilingual folk only, right?" He said, "We're only hiring bilingual folk only, and if you worked here before and you quit, we won't hire you back, right?" So I was like, "Well, that's a doggone bummer." I'm like, "Well, tell everybody I said hi and et cetera, et cetera. Let me pause for a second. I'll be right back." I was counting to three. Anyway, so he says, "I'll tell everybody that we heard you. Nice to hear from you and this and that." Well, the next morning around 9:15, the wife begins making her coffee. I get a phone call. I don't recognize the number. I'm thinking it's a whatever. And the guy says, "Oh, I told everybody about you, and they said to offer you a position and bring you to work right away. We need you to send us a picture. This, and that." I mean, like just like that. Just start rattling it off. So I did all that stuff that day, and the next day they were like, "Okay, everything's ready to go. We'll see you on Tuesday." And I was like, "What?" Now it's not a management position or anything like that. As a matter of fact, they said they didn't even have a position for me, but they were just going to bring me on and we'll figure it out. So now there's some movement going after the holidays and all that stuff is all panned out. And there's a couple of jobs that are posted and things like that. And I encourage my former colleagues to uh, apply for those jobs because I wouldn't even at my 3 months yet, right? And I'm hoping that these fellows that I actually brought up through the ranks and they became managers after I left, I hope they move on and prosper. And now I'll go get my old job back over.
That's amazing. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, and on top of that, the XYL, she finally found work too. You remember our unique situation? We both lost our jobs at the same time on the same day, right? Because of restructuring. So I was off for 6 months, and I wasn't getting any calls. I already told you that. And then that happened, and I was like, "Oh, I got a job," And on Wednesday, so she actually, same thing. Everything she applied for was calling and following up, nothing. And then someone saw her resume on LinkedIn, and she's going to be working with a contractor too for the government. So we're both contractors for the government, and she's working on whatever that new program is that does dental for elderly and youth. Some new program. I'm not too sure about it, but that's what she's going to be working on over.
Wow, that's fantastic, man. I'm so happy for you guys. That's amazing.
And then she said to me, "Don't think because you got a job you can go out and buy any radio stuff. We gotta catch up first." So I started putting on my Facebook page, "Hey, I'm selling you know stuff off the back of the truck. Come get your watches, your Lysol, your toilet paper, this and this and this. So, no joking aside, I put up a couple of posts and showed pictures and stuff that Sue made, and I've already raised over $900 just from people buying shirts and keychains and all that stuff like that from us. Unfortunately, though, she can't make any of this stuff because let me pause for a second. Unfortunately, she can't make any of this stuff because she was called on Wednesday to be told that her brother had passed away of a heart attack. So she got that news on Wednesday, and her first day at her job was Thursday. So she had to drive down to Sudbury on Wednesday to go secure the home and all that stuff like that. And the nice people were good enough to redirect her two computers to Sudbury for her to start her day on Thursday. So she has had. She said it was kind of good and kind of bad because it kept her mind off of what had happened. As she was trying to ramp up this new business. Over.
Well, that's sad, man. That's sad. I forgot the call sign of our friend in Ottawa there. Come again. I'll hand it over to you for a little bit. We've been talking away here.
VA3STL, VA3OTW in the group returning. Well, Ernest, I'm very happy for you. I knew the high-level story that you yourself and the XYL were looking for work. But I didn't know it was under those circumstances and that you were so fortunate. Congratulations to both of you, Ernest. That's absolutely fantastic and great news. I'm very, very happy to hear. And hopefully this practice rig will work out this weekend. And if you can get the funds together, and if you like it, maybe you can get one for yourself. But yeah, that's absolutely great there, Ernest. I'm very happy for you. I share the sentiments with Dan there. I'll pass it back to you there, Ernest. VA3WV, mobile VE3OTW.
See, I gotta get good like I have to get good like that. I've been practicing so much, but I learned the other day. I don't know if it was you that told me. Oh yeah, it was you. So now I was looking for opportunities so I can go to Quebec and then I can do my VA3EWV. And I was trying to practice it like in my head and stuff, and I was like when I was with you the other day, and now I understand. If you're a VA3 or a VE3 in Ontario, and you go to Quebec, for example, you're a VA3 or no, hold on, yeah, VA2 or VA3, right? I think I got it now.
You would be your call sign is Victor Alpha 3 Echo Whiskey Victor. You have to say mobile, and sometimes you have to do a stroke 2. But maybe the ECOTW can clarify that.
QSL, yeah, I pretty much agree with what Dan said. Yeah, you're either mobile 2 or mobile Victor Echo 2. I think most people use Victor Echo 2 because it's kind of the original call sign. It's the original prefix. The Victor Alpha, it's a very recent prefix. So people either use stroke 2 or stroke Victor Echo 2. I'll leave that up to you there, Ernest.
VA3EWV to the group, and then I'll get your call sign here. I know it, but it's and you just said it a couple times, but I'll get it. But I've only been to Montreal, Ottawa, and Toronto. That's it. Oh, and I went all the way to Dinsmore, Saskatchewan. When COVID happened, we went to see Sue's brother, not the one that passed, but the other one. And it was full-fledged COVID, where they had porta potties on the side of the road and all that stuff. And we did a whole trip, 3-day trip to Dinsmore there in the RV. That was quite the experience. That'll be for another day. But the reason I'm bringing it up, I got so excited about that because it sounds so cool to do your slash, VA3EWV mobile / V, and I'll get it. I know it's a VA2 or whatever. But now I want to travel all the provinces just so I can do my call sign in different provinces and do the slash thing. I know it sounds silly, but I'm like, I'm going to gas up and now hit all these places just so I can say my call sign in their province. Over. Oh,
Yeah, QSL, all the provinces and territories have their own little special prefix there. It will be Victor Echo 2 because that'll be the original prefix because I think Newfoundland is Victor. Was it Victor? I'm sure Dan might be able to correct me here. Newfoundland is Victor Echo 0, I think, or no, I'm thinking of Yukon. Yukon is I think Charlie Yankee 0. So you have multiple places with the same number. So if
oh,
the number isn't repeated or copied, I take it the stroke 2 would suffice. But if you're going to a place where the suffix has the same number as other places, you might have to change it up a bit. But yeah, Saskatchewan, you would be stroke or mobile Victor Echo 5, depending on where you were and what you were transmitting with. So there you go. That gives you a chance to tour the country.
Dan, can you give me your call sign one more time?
Yeah, I got to identify it anyways. It's Victor Alpha 3 Sierra Delta Oscar. Sierra
SDO.
Delta Oscar.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Victor. I think he said Victor Alpha 3. That's the part that always confuses me. But Victor Alpha 3 SDO. So Sierra Delta Oscar. Hey Dan, I always remember the call signs when I get a story. When I first met Jonathan, he said that he lived in Ottawa, he lived in Toronto, and I think one time he lived in Windsor. So that's the OTW. What is your SDO for? Over. Your middle name is Daniel then?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'll be the thing. See, I tell you, man, every time I get on the radio, I learn something. And that's why I'm so happy out here running my mouth.
Yeah, nobody except for the government calls me by my first name. I don't want to be a junior.
Oh, amen on that. Hey, look, guys, VA3SDO, VE3OTW. I am on the 138, and people are passing 4 cars at a time. So I'm going to get on off the mic here. It's been a pleasure talking to you both, VE3OTW and VA3SDO, VA3EWV mobile. And I'll turn it over to you guys if y'all still want to talk. But I'm going to turn this sucker off because I don't like being on the 138 talking. Y'all have a good rest of your day, okay?
Okay, Ernest, very good. Well, I better take off here and get some dinner anyways. But Dan, Ernest, it was great to